You're probably watching this because I sent you a link because you asked me one of the frequently asked questions about why I'm a pilot. So I wrote down a list of questions that I'm tired of answering. For example, what got me into flying? In 2018, I was at the Wings of the Rockies Air and Space Museum in Denver. And in the intro video, Harrison Ford was landing a Cessna with big wheels onto a grassy strip on the mountainside. And I said, that's pretty cool. And I haven't gone to grad school, and I am privileged enough that my dad will pay for my grad school. And he said, if you want to consider flying as a career, I will foot the bill. And so, you know, I'm a little bit attention deficit when it comes to my interests. I have many hobbies. So I decided I'm going to take the written exam, and if I do really well on it, then I'll pursue the flying. So I studied, and I got 97%. You need a 70% to pass. So I started flying, and I got my private pilot license in 2019. What does it take to become a pilot? You have to be a 16-year-old to be a student pilot, a 17-year-old to get your private pilot's license. You need 40 hours. 10 of those hours need to be solo. You're the only one in the cockpit. 3 hours cross country. One of them has to be 100 nautical miles, and one of them has to be 150 nautical miles. You need 3 hours of instrument training, which I'll get into in a second. 3 hours of night training, and how much does it cost? That cost us $15,000. With the hourly rate being around $150. Currently, I'm paying $170 per hour, and you can join a flying club, or you can buy your own plane for about $20,000 or more, millions. You could pay millions for a plane, but it's like a high-end vehicle. But monthly, you'll have to pay about $2,000 for hangar and maintenance costs. People always ask me, do you want to be a commercial pilot? A commercial pilot is the next rating after private pilot. That just means that you get to be paid. What a lot of people are meaning when they ask, do you want to be a commercial pilot, is do you want to be an airline pilot? I'm still on the fence about it. There's lots of pros and cons. Let's get into what steps you need to take. Well, first you get your medical and you do your solo as a student pilot. Then you get your private pilot's license at 40 hours. Well, it might take you longer depending on how long it takes you to learn everything. Every rating has a written exam, a practical exam, and an experiential part. But you take your written. With your instructor, you get certain experiences down. They guide you through everything. You can do instrument rating at any point. This video is going to be useful because my mom doesn't even know what I'm working on right now. An instrument rating is what all the airlines are on. They're on an instrument flight plan, which is shortened to IFR. And then that means you can go through a stratus layer or through the clouds, maybe through a thunderstorm if you're in the airlines. Another reason I might not want to join the airlines. So if you want to get commercially rated, you need 250 measly little hours. You have to be 18 years old. What do you do when you're a commercial pilot? First, a very common one is you become a flight instructor. You teach people how to fly, whether it's private pilot or instrument flying or multi-engine or even commercial. Everybody needs an instructor. You're always with somebody except when you're in solo, but even then you're kind of guided to the edge and pushed off, and they know you're going to be relatively safe. As a commercial pilot, you can become a banner tower. You could maybe, after a while, become a survey pilot. You could also become a jumper dumper, somebody who lifts up the parachute jumpers and opens the door and kicks them out, and you come land, and they will jump down onto the field. So that's at 250 hours. The reason becoming an airline pilot is so difficult is because you need to be an airline transport pilot rating. So that's beat one step past commercial rating. A lot of flight instructors leave after they accrue 1,000 hours. I've already lost three instructors to regional airlines or charter airlines. So once you get to 1,000, 1,500, or 2,000 hours, you have a lot more options. So as an airline transport pilot, according to this book, the FAR-AIM, which is all the federal aviation regulations, which you have to become very familiar with. That's the only rating where you have to be of good moral character, which I thought was kind of funny. So you can be a shitty private pilot and a jerk of a commercial pilot, but once you go to the airlines, you need to be of good moral character. This might be a catch if you have like a resentment against somebody who you know is a pilot and you know that he's done something shisty. Like I'm sure so many airline pilots are cheating on their wives with stewardesses. That's kind of a stereotype. Hopefully it's ethical non-monogamy, but you never know, and you could maybe like get them fired because they're not of good moral character. Pro tip. So for that you need 1,500 hours. 500 of those have to be cross-country, 100 have to be night, and 75 have to be instrument rating, instrument flight rules. So we keep track of these all in our logbook, and no, you cannot cheat because once in a while you will be audited, and people have lost their jobs because they have pretended to have many, many hours when they didn't. Those are all the different licensings. Then there's also type ratings. So actually the instrument is a rating, it's not a license. So I'm working on my instrument rating. If you want to have a different type rating in a different type of aircraft, like a turbojet or large aircraft or a seaplane or tailwheel or multi-engine, you'll have to get checked out and signed off by an instructor that you've had the necessary training. My goal is currently just to get to 250 and become a flight instructor. I've been a teacher for almost 10 years. Since my kid was 2 years old, I became a Montessori preschool teacher. I've taught yoga and skiing and children in a classroom. And I think it would be fun teaching people how to fly. And you get to choose your own schedule. It's really hard scheduling my instructor because she's blocking off like 5 a.m. to 7 a.m. because she doesn't want anyone just taking that up. But I need that kind of flexibility because I have a child that might need me, maybe. He's old enough, he's 12, that I'm getting to the point where I can leave him alone, but transportation is my biggest issue. How long does it take to become a pilot? Well, you know how many hours it takes, and then it depends how much time you have. Like if you wanted to full-time do it, 9 to 5, they say it's like drinking out of a fire hose. You can join a flight school that will put you through the ringer and train you real hard. You could do it within a year. You can go from 0 hours to becoming a flight instructor within a year. I can't do that. I've been working, when 2019 I got my license, and then I moved to Arvada to have my kid join a Montessori charter school, and then worked there until the pandemic, and then I worked for a year at a co-op Montessori homeschool thing, and then now I'm back at it. So it's taking me a lot longer. And right now I'm also substitute teaching and keeping my schedule open for that, as well as studying, and also it's hard to schedule my instructor. So how long does it take to become a pilot? It depends. Can you fly me around is another one. It costs $170 to rent an airplane per hour. As a private pilot, I can't let you pay for all of that. I would have to pay $85, is that? I'd have to pay half of it, basically. Or if there's 4 people, divide the total cost by 4, and I could, do that. But then 2 people are in the back, and it's a really small airplane. You'd be like squeezed in. And how much does it cost to get your license? So the private pilot costs $15,000. I'm currently at about, I want to say maybe $30,000, just because I already have 120 hours, maybe more, and then I still have to get 2 more ratings. So it might end up being $60,000. I don't know. It's gotten more expensive because of inflation. What do I want to do with it? I'm not sure yet. I will definitely be a flight instructor until my son is 18. And then I'll have enough hours to become maybe whatever I want to be. I'm not close-minded to the airlines. I just can't be that, I can't just get up and go for weeks at a time. And sometimes it's like that. I want to be useful. And part of the reason I wanted to become a pilot is because if there's an apocalypse and if I have a mechanic in my little village, then we can still get around using airplanes. And, you know, this is very unlikely to happen, but my mind still goes there. It would be useful. And I feel like airlines are not necessarily useful. People are traveling for pleasure or business. And as the pandemic showed us, we don't really need that. So it's not useful, but it's lucrative. And I would definitely sell out if you gave me $80,000 a month. Which I've heard that some freight operators, like for FedEx or UPS, have made that much. I have not confirmed that. That was word of mouth. That just seems ridiculous to me. I have also heard horror stories about working freight where you're waiting around all day and then they say, okay, you have to have your wheels up in 1 hour, and then the rain and the hail starts, but you still have to go. That sounds horrible, and I would like to have a boss who is kind. We all make mistakes. In aviation, the accidents that happen are not just because somebody made one mistake. It's because of compounding mistakes that happen. Swiss cheese. You learn about hazardous attitudes and their antidotes. And one of the hazardous attitudes that I've been called out on by my instructor is resignation. The antidote to that is I am not powerless. I made a mistake, that's fine, that's in the past, next thing. When I first started learning, I learned on this, which is called a 6-pack. And now I'm learning on something that looks like this. It's PFD and MFD, and it's got all those instruments right here, including all this that helps for situational awareness. And this is where I study.